Hi, we are here today with much in-demand fiddler and guitarist Aaron Till. Besides doing so much session work, Aaron has played with country artists such as Pam Tillis, Chesnut, Jim Lauderdale, and bluegrass artists too, such as J.D.Crowe and Jim and Jesse. So Aaron, tell us how you got started playing music in the first place.
I started out learning how to play guitar when I was about 10 or 11, and I got really interested in my mother's old 45s. She had all these rock and roll records that she grew up listening to, and she used to play around the house. And that's what got me interested in music, and then later on I got into country music and bluegrass, and just pretty much was consumed by bluegrass from like 14 until I grew up, and I got interested in other instruments as well, and I tried banjo for a while and mandolin for a while, and eventually settled on fiddle, and I think because it was the hardest one, and it was the hardest one to get the hang of at first, and so once I started to make some headway, it became an addiction.
Sure.
So.
Well, Aaron, you move so seamlessly between so many musical genres, bluegrass, country, even gypsy jazz. Tell us how you do this.
I just, from an early age, I've been interested in a lot of different types of music, and really it was just a matter of listening to all kinds of records, and then whenever I had a chance, just diving right in. Whenever I found musicians who would let me play with them, let me jam.
Yeah.
Bluegrass is good for that because it's such a hands-on. Most of the people who are into bluegrass can play a little bit, and they always welcome you with open arms, especially if you're young like I was, and it was a really good place for me to start. And then from there, I just always had such an interest in other styles, and swing, the gypsy jazz stuff, I didn't really start figuring out how to do that. I've always loved it, but I didn't start figuring out how to do that until after I moved to Nashville and got around and started listening, to all the great musicians in town, like Buddy Spiker and Billy Contreras, who was about 10 years old at the time, and Paul Kramer and great local people like that who have a really, really good background in jazz,
Well, Aaron, tell us how you got the idea for this next tune that we're about to hear.
It was the first song I ever learned how to sing, and I had this old record of it when I was a kid, and it was real tricky. I had to listen to this record over and over and over again to get it just the way it was on the record, but I finally got it.
Good.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see him to my loved one, and waltzing my friend stole my sweet babe. The night and then to waltz, now you're not lost. How I lost Lynn the night they were playing in that beautiful waltz.
Aaron, talk to us about the Hot Club of Nashville.
Hot Club of Nashville, that's my friend Richard Smith, who you did an interview with not too long ago. He called me. I met him in 2000, and we hit it off immediately. And he started talking to me about this idea of putting together kind of a Django Reinhardt style band full of local pickers that he was meeting around town, and he wanted to call it the Hot Club of Nashville. And he asked me if I would be interested in that, and I said sure. I could. It wasn't anything I could commit to immediately, because I was playing with Mark Chesnut at the time, and he was pretty busy back then. So he ended up calling Stuart Duncan and got him to do it. And well, I'm sorry you couldn't find anybody, but then Stuart got real busy, and they started having me come in, and it kind of became mine and Stuart's gig, and whenever he wasn't able to do it, I'd fill in, and whenever. This is a lick that you hear a lot in bluegrass. That is a good, nice little intro lick. You can start out just about any medium or fast bluegrass fiddle break with a lick like this, and it's this, and it's really versatile too. You can do, or so I'll slow that down for you and show you how it's done. What I'm doing when I start out this lick, I have the second finger on the A string hitting the C sharp note right there. Make sure that's in tune. I have the open E string right there, and I'm hitting double stops after that. D and F sharp on the E string. And then the next double stop is a right there on the A string. So you got, and then I just take that and move it up one fret, and with the, so and at the beginning you can throw a little or
Well, Aaron, tell us about some of your future plans. What can we see from you in the future?
Well, I'm going to be working on a CD pretty soon.
Okay.
I don't really have a title for it yet, but it's one that I'm going to record with Richard Smith and a few other people who are kind enough to help me. The way we do things in Nashville, sometimes we barter and trade services, you know, and so I've had some good friends who are nice enough to help me out, and I've already got one CD partially under my name. It was one that I did with Richard Smith in 2004 called Out of Nowhere, and I think I've got about 5 of those left. And but this one is just going to be mine, and it's going to have some original songs, and it's going to be just sort of a mishmash of stuff that I love to do, you know, swing, bluegrass, country, maybe some Irish music, you know.
Well, Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Well,
It's been really fun.
Yes, me too. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.